Hello, my YouTube crowd. I just kind of wanted to do this video about where I currently sit with women, uh, and that would be not anywhere really. Um, I am finding myself very disenfranchised about the whole dating scene, um, and I'm also technically still married. Um, I'm sure my soon to be ex is probably doing whatever she wants, but I am not the kind of dude who is going to put myself in a situation where any accusations can be made about me in the interim. So I'm not planning on moving on really until that situation's over. Um, in fact, the only reason that I've made it clear to her that I do want a divorce is because she's now untrustworthy. I mean, once somebody asks you for a divorce, you basically, in my opinion, can't trust them ever again. Because, you know, you give them a pass on that, they're just going to cheat on you if they haven't been already. Regardless of starting this new job and everything like that, and you know, probably going to be making pretty good money and everything like that. Um, I don't miss enough about modern women to want to be with one. Um, um, and you know, I watch a lot of relationship videos on YouTube, and um, the amount of modern women who are like on a dating app while actively seeing a guy they've been dating for 4 years is it's just staggering. Uh, but um, you know, the other thing to consider is I'm going to be 47 in 11 days, or sorry, 6 days, and I think that's just too old. One, too old to be having kids. Too old to be getting with some super young chick. And I've been fixed anyway. I'm not interested in children. People are always going on, well, at least you can get your vasectomy reversed. Why would I fucking do that? It's kind of a double-edged sword, you know? I mean, if your parents didn't decide to have kids, you wouldn't be around. So I'm glad some people like having children, but um, it's difficult enough having two felines involved in this thing. Uh, but I guess the way I see it is if someone goes to treating you differently overnight, did they ever really care about you? Did the person that married you just marry you so they didn't have to live with their mom? I mean, you know, you can say that that's pretty extreme, but that's what it feels like. And it's interesting. My common law partner, she um, moved in with her sister to try and have a different life for a little bit, and then a few months later I was to join her, and when that went down, I was told not to come. So then this other thing comes around. So my actual marriage, um, she went to the Noodling Festival in Oklahoma, and some relatives of hers just bought a house apparently willy nilly while they were there, and then I was supposed to join her and expressed my concerns about doing that and was assured that this person was not like my ex. And within almost the same amount of time, just a few months, I was getting asked for a divorce. So, um, you guys should probably go watch my Never Long-Term Divide and Conquer video, because I explain a lot of it in that. That is just not something that you can do. A relationship has to be pretty serious to be able to handle that type of separation and still work out. Okay? Um, but the fact that someone would do that to you means that they didn't care, as far as I'm concerned. And they can try and say, oh, I did, and like it was this and it was that and the other. But nothing happened in this relationship that I didn't inform my wife of. You know, you're really lucky as a guy if you can get away with anything and your wife not finding out or knowing anyway. So why would I even risk that? I was very, honest with my wife about everything I intended to do, about wanting to start a company, about wanting to go into semi-retirement to find a better job after the trailer was paid off, and stuff like that. But when it came down to doing those things, even though she agreed with them in the at the start, apparently when it came down to it, it was an issue. Okay? And a husband and wife just shouldn't have issues like that, you know? And regardless of the issues you do or don't think that a husband and wife should have, that kind of stuff can just be really detrimental to a relationship as it is. And it's just not something I can go through any longer. Like I as a person cannot go through that again. I can't love somebody like that again. I think Montgomery Scott said in that Next Generation episode, Relics, your first ship is sort of like the first time you fall in love with a woman. You never love a woman quite like that again. And there's a lot of truth to that for multiple reasons. But one of those reasons is just experience and being more guarded the next time around. I realized that there were times in my relationship where my wife was totally lying to me. But I felt like it was probably about something somewhat irrelevant, and I could just let it go. But you shouldn't. I mean, if someone's being dishonest with you in any way, they're probably being dishonest with you in a way that would really bother you. One time my wife walked in on me, and I was on a dating app that I used to be on. And she got very accusatory. And I was like, I'm not trying to find another woman. I simply looked in my email, and I was getting a lot of emails from this site suddenly. And it turned out that the site was using my profile for nefarious things. So I was going through all the people who tagged me. I logged back into the site. I was going through all the people who tagged me and just kind of trying to see if they were legit accounts or not, or bots. Almost all of them were bots. But I can totally see from her point of view how that looked bad. Okay? Even when I tried to explain it, I don't feel like she really ever bought my explanation. On the other hand, I totally let this woman once a week go and hang out with her ex and a bunch of other dudes to play RPGs, and had relative trust in her that nothing was going down. Now, though, I mean, for all I know, they were running a train on her the whole time. And, like, if she told me that was happening now, it wouldn't actually be surprising. Because that has turned out to be the type of person this person is. She is dishonest, and she cares more about getting railed than you know, actually being a good partner in the relationship. Because if this individual thinks that she was a good wife, she's completely full of shit. I might have had some issues with my first partner, but as far as like being a wife goes, she was like 10 times the woman this woman is. And that is just because there's a generational difference there. You know, we are Gen Xers, this person is a millennial. We do not see things the same way. Okay? We see a lot of things the same way, and for a long time we got along really well as a couple. I mean, part of the reason I liked her was because she vibed with me on a lot of things. Uh, but now, you know, you sit here in hindsight really wondering if any of that was true. And really, I think as a guy, men need some traditional things. It's nice for a woman to have the guy open the door for her, and what have you. It's nice as a guy to occasionally come home to a hot meal and a clean house. Um, Cooking dinner was ordering dinner, and that's very impersonal, you know. But I made breakfast and dinner almost every day. I came up with these nice little things I call hash stacks. They're basically a hash brown with some vegetarian sausage and an egg and cheese on top of that. They were really good. And I got to where I could make those pretty lickety split, you know. I made a lot of casseroles and stuff, you know. There were one or two nights where we just had cereal because it's like, you know, it's a little late to cook. I'm beat. That's all there is to it. Um, it's like more modern women just don't realize that sometimes your dude just needs some fucking help. He needs some fucking help. Help him clean the fucking place, okay? If you want sex on a regular basis, make sure your hygiene's good. Bathe, you know? If if you like video games, that's great. Okay? I realize video games are a thing these days, but don't prioritize those things over other things you claim to enjoy. Okay? You know, if your guy's 17 years older than you, he's going to get tired before you do. He's going to be over things before you are. And like if your dude's trying to go to bed, and or if he's looking like he's going to bed and you're now putting the game controller down going, "Hey, wait a minute, we're going to, you know, no we're not. No we're not. We should have done that hours ago when like I still had some consciousness left. You know, I've been traveling around multiple states for the last 3 days, and you know, I'm exhausted. I need to rest. I mean, uh, I keep having these chads in the comments going, dude, whenever your wife wants to screw, you screw. No, no, you don't. That's just pandering to, you know, the type of behavior that I'm talking about. And you can't be ruled by your cock, okay? That's when bad decisions get made. I was ruled by my cock when I got into this relationship, and it was a bad call that I shouldn't have let my cock make. Um, so I've been thinking less with that. I've been making different decisions when it comes to the opposite sex that I feel like are healthier, like staying away from them altogether lately. And in fact, it's gotten to where, and you know, you can look on the internet. This is kind of the way it is now. I just almost ignore women. I I mean, I don't mistreat them, but like I don't acknowledge them and stuff like that. You know, one thing I like about Oklahoma, there's not a whole lot to like about Oklahoma, I guess. It's a very pretty state. But one of the other things I like about Oklahoma is people leave you the fuck alone, okay? You know, there's this thing in Texas where everybody feels like they got to say howdy to you and good morning and how you doing and yada yada yada. And I just can't fucking stand that, okay? I don't want to talk to people and shit. I don't want to get to know you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to... Just leave me the fuck alone. Um, and I feel like a lot of Oklahomans get that. Ignorance is a thing. And you either accept ignorance or you don't, okay? And I don't think ignorance is really as good an excuse as a lot of people think it is. And if you're going to be ignorant to the relationship game, I guess you can't blame anyone but yourself when it goes bad for you. So I think, like, before you're really going to get into the dating scene really hard, it's probably a good idea to kind of look around and see how people are being treated in it. Anyway, thank you for staying to the end if you did, and please like and subscribe. Goemon Ronan and my buddy Joe signing out.